Shabbat Shalom. Let's learn from Sefer Vayikra, the new Chumash of the Torah. We begin reading this week the book of Leviticus, along with Rashi's commentary, in order to deepen our understanding of both the text itself and draw out messages from the Torah portion for our lives. The idea that the Torah presents first when we unscroll the Torah and we set it down before us to begin our reading of the book of Leviticus has really nothing to do with the sacrifices that are about to be listed and the entire system that's about to be updated. To hear more about the update of the sacrificial system, you can listen to my sermon this week. But let's focus on the message of the very first verse in the book of Leviticus. I'm going to share with you my screen and hope that it makes it into the recording, an image of the very first word and couple of words in Sefer Vayikra, in the book of Leviticus. You will see that there is a very small aleph in the first word, Vayikra, that word from which the book takes its name. And the verse reads, Vayikra el Moshe. Before God starts talking, Vayidaber Adonai elav me'ohel moed lemor. Before the verse says, and God spoke to Moses from the tent of meetings, saying thusly, there is this word, Vayikra, with a very small aleph. So sometimes the Torah's very presentation, the graphic presentation, the visual presentation of the letters reminds us of important teachings and reminds us of essential concepts that the rabbis amplify in their midrashic takes on the Torah text itself. In this case, the text, meaning the graphic presentation of the text. That small aleph says to the rabbis that you might think there's a small matter to take care of before you actually continue on and talk about matters of importance and matters that necessitate a real dialogue with another person you have a relationship with. You might think small of what? Starting the conversation like a human being, of calling out to that other person, of either saying their name or asking, how are you? Establishing a connection and re-establishing the relationship. That's not a small matter, the Torah reminds us, with the small aleph. Though the issue before you stands larger, and in this case, God was about to speak to Moses about redefining the entire system of sacrifices that for sure folks knew about from ancient religious practices all around them. Going to make it specifically Jewish and categorize each of the offerings that one could bring. Don't forget. Call out, reach out, connect with the person you have to have an important conversation with. Right? We don't just pick up the phone and start writing. I mean, sometimes with SMS, with texting these days, somebody who feels there's already an established connection might just shoot off a question, but you're relying on a relationship that you've established before. And perhaps, whatever the question and whatever the matter, it might just be nice to say, hello, shalom, put in the person's name. Let them know you're thinking of them more holistically than just this one matter at hand, this one issue I've got to deal with, this one question that I know you've the answer for, and I need you to get back to me as soon as possible, because that's the attitude we take when we put a text out. Used to be that way with emails, but now it's with texts. Rashi explains it this way. What does that word and that letter in the way it's printed remind us of, in the way it's scribed, remind us of? L'chol dibrot, l'chol amirot, l'chol tzivuyim, kadma kriya. When the Lord spoke with Moses or prepared to speak with Moses, every time God communicated, whether it was represented by the expression, and he spoke, vayidaber, or vayomer, or vayomar, he said, or vayitzav, and he commanded. Even in that commander mode, God preceded that communication by calling out to Moses. And what did that call sound like? It sounded like those many times in Torah when God wanted to bring somebody in close, when God wanted to reconnect, to reestablish or invite anew, someone to have a real relationship, a dynamic relationship. And that call in Torah terms is a call that's engaging the person by name. And not only engaging the person by name, but doubling their name. And so Rashi goes on to say, Shne'emar, v'kara ze el ze, it's angelic and it's divine, like the angels called one to the other, for God to call down to the human beings and human beings to have this relationship with God and to call each other by name. And the Midrash even suggests further that doubling of the name was used by God each time. God would call out, Moshe, Moshe. And Moses would answer, Hineni, Hineni. Here I am, ready to serve you, ready to be in relationship with you, ready to receive your teaching, ready to, and in our cases in the everyday world, ready to receive you, ready to hear you, ready to deal with your question, ready to jump into the issue, ready to figure out with you a solution to our problem, a readiness to engage in a partnership, in life together. So we are reminded that jumping right in sometimes does not establish the type of holy connectivity that we need in order to develop new understandings and approaches, take care of the detailed realities and necessities of life. And so let's learn from the Rashi and Torah and not think small of the connectivity, the connection we make with the others in our orbits, in our lives, relationships that are even established, that we should reestablish closeness and call out names and connect humanly in order then to get down into the matters at hand, either in the everyday world of our lives and ongoing toil, or even, and very much for sacred pursuits that we make together. Shabbat Shalom.